Hello and welcome to Ephphatha, meaning Be Open, a podcast about overcoming confinement, restrictions, and living your full potential, bringing illumination to your darkest moments, tearing down the walls that kept you from living the fullness of life, coming out strong, refined, into fulfilling your purpose. My name is Kehinde Adegoke, otherwise known as Kenny Crown. I am the light of the world who He saved to save, and every fortnight we will be sharing stories, advice, quotes, and tips to help in the transition. So up in and let's rock the boat together. Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Ephphatha podcast. And here I am again, your host. You know how we do it is from confinement to fulfilling your purpose, liberating you from any form of limitations or from anything that may be holding you captive. Today is your freedom. Today I have with me an amazing guest. Oh my God, all the way from So his name is Sylvester Jenkins. Three. Sylvester Jenkins the third. So before we go on, I'm just gonna read his bio so you can know what you are in for today. So Sylvester is an author, mental health advocate. He's retired with 21 years of military service in the US Army, with tours to Iraq and Afghanistan. He completed a Master Resilience Training course. Sylvester is a member of the National Society of Leadership and Success. He is a first-generation college graduate. He is certified in executive leadership and youth mental health first aid. Sylvester self-published the books Winning the Battle Within, Ision. He is a phenomenal speaker who has empowered thousands of people by helping them reach their goals, both personally and professionally. How amazing! We've got a wonderful man here who's got some fire in his bones and is ready with a resilient skill to kick off against any form of limitation within and fighting it from the very place that it starts from, which is from the heart, from here, from inside. So thank you so much, brother. It's so good to have you here today.
Thank you so much for having me, Kenny. I'm so astounded to be here today. I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Ooh, thank you so much. Thank you so much. So today we'll be talking about a very wonderful topic. And the topic says combat to come back, becoming by overcoming. And Sylvester here is super pumped today to dive into this topic and help us see from where he is coming from. So my first question, Sylvester, is combat. Why combat? And have you ever been in this situation before? And do you want to share with us?
Absolutely. So, combat for me, it doesn't mean just being in war as far as Afghanistan and Iraq. Combat
Mm,
is financial adversity. Combat is social adversity. Some combat is mental adversity. All these things are a battle that you face on a daily basis. Multiple people have faced these types of combats and not known the way to win that war or win that battle. So for
mm,
me, I've dealt with acrimonious divorce. I felt loss of a loved one. I dealt with emotional issues, emotional neglect. I grew up in a single parent home, gang and drug infested neighborhoods. They became my surrogate family during my time of growing up. I never had a male presence in my life in order to direct me in the ways that I should go as a male. I dealt with identity issues. During the time of me joining the military, I joined to find a purpose and to change my way of life, the environment that I was in, because I felt I wanted more. I knew I had some sense of that I needed to find my way as far as what I was going through in my life. I know God didn't put me on this earth just to live in that type of environment. And for a long period of time, I had my doubts. You know, you deal with those big enemies as far as self-doubt, that inner critic, self-guilt. You deal with so many things as far as just developing along your journey in life. And
mm,
those are some of the things that I dealt with. But one of the most hardships that I faced was when I was on a tour to Iraq. Now, in combat, it does not discriminate. Combat
Wow.
doesn't care whether you're a mother, a father, a sister, or brother. It doesn't care what your religion is. It doesn't care what your race is. When you're in combat, you got to deal with the fact of possibility and probability. You're stuck in an environment where you're in a hostile environment for 365 days or possibly more. And during the time of you going through that, you
Mm,
never know what can happen to you. Sometimes
mm,
you can be hanging out with one of your friends that you met while you was in the military and be going to their memorial service the following day. And you got to think about every morning that you wake up, it could possibly be your last.
mm,
And after I came back from Iraq, I was going through a divorce. And when I was going through this divorce, I came back home to nothing. The house was empty. My family was gone. My bank account was empty. My car was gone. I came back to nothing. So you think about dealing with the hardships of being in a deployed environment and then coming back home to nothing. It's a whole new chapter of your life that you have to face, a whole new battle. And when I was going through this, I resorted to drugs and alcohol to try and suppress the pain because I felt there was no way out, and I was dealing with these inner demons for a long period of my time. And I didn't have the energy to go to work. I didn't want to face other people, feeling like a failure, dealing with my relationship, my marriage. I was taught, in the military that showing your emotions could possibly get you killed. So
wow.
just dealing with those things on a
Mm,
constant basis put me in a downhill spiral to want to literally take my own life. It put me
mm,
in a position where I was just literally sitting in my living room on the floor. And when I was sitting in the living room on the floor, I had the liquor bottle right next to me. I had just got done smoking like 2 or 3 cigarettes, and I had the gun right there. And I was like, I'm just going to end it all right here because I
mm,
have nothing to live for. I just lost my family. I'm dealing with the stresses from coming back from Iraq. I'm dealing with like all the hardships of feeling like a failure, all those emotions of what I experienced and went through. It was so hard for me. I just didn't want to deal with it no more. So I said, I'm just going to pull the trigger. I'm just going to put the gun to my head and pull the trigger. But in thinking about those things, that all the situations that I would be causing, all the people that I would be hurting in the process of doing that made me change the way I view life. Because I thought about, like, if I killed myself, my son would grow up the same way I did. He would grow up
mm,
without a father. He would grow up without that male presence. He would grow up without that guidance in order to get him or turn him into the man of God that he needs to be. So
mm.
that's a little bit of my story of my combat journey, and just putting me in the position of where I am today.
Wow, that is such an amazing story. It is powerful. It is that this is a story that you can actually relate with. Every one of us has been through one thing or the other. But I think that your story, it's a gold because it's so enriched inside. And I think that the part that you said that you felt like you had a bottle in front of you, you had a gun, and you just wanted to end it. It means that you've gotten to your breaking limit. You just couldn't
Right.
take it anymore. You felt like life was just totally against you at that point in time. Like there was nothing to live for. But then it came a moment of realization. So should we then say that combat in a layman's language is any negative force that is working against you? Or am I right? Am I
Yeah,
right to say that?
absolutely. Any adversity that you might face is
Wow. So
combat.
any adversity that you might be going through, you have to face it and fight it. Hmm. It is so easy to say, I know, but Sylvester will be taking us through the journey of how he overcame by becoming in just a
Absolutely.
moment. He needs to tell us how he was able to. What was the first stage of that moment? I don't think that people want to end up their life and people are just thought that they've seen it all and they just decided like, you know what, now I remember that I have a son to live for. Now I remember that I have a purpose. I don't think it's gonna be as quick as that. But what was that moment of realization? what brought the thought of remembering that you have a child to live for, or saying that no, this is not how the story is supposed to end? What was that trigger that brought out the positive thinking?
Yes, absolutely. That's a great question. So there's two things that people want in life, and that's success and happiness.
Mm,
Everybody wants success and happiness. But in the process of going along that journey, we always face those hardships, those battles that derail us from those situations. But for me, what I did in the process of going through that motions, I took an opportunity to reflect. I reflect on
mm,
everything that was going on in my life. And what I learned to understand that I could not change nothing that was going on dealing with the people that was around me or the circumstance that I was in. The only thing I could truly control was myself. And
mm,
what I had to understand was adaptability is part of the process, because we all know that change is a part of life.
mhm,
Change is going to happen. Like I grew up in an era where we use 8-track tapes, records, and CDs. Now we can do all these things from our phones,
mm,
so change is inevitable. It's going to happen. So once I came to the realization and reflected on those things, that change is a part of life, and there's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is
mm.
temporary. Pain is truly temporary, but suffering is a choice. You have a choice between making that decision to lead, how long that lasts. But in reflecting, I also had to release. I had to release the self-doubt. I had to release the guilt. I had to release all the pain that I was dealing with. I had to understand that this is a new chapter of my life and that I had to face it and embrace it with open arms. And then also, I had to just develop a healthy routine, because the routine that I was dealing with was not beneficial for me. All the bad habits that I dealt with, all the things that I went through. So in this routine, I developed something called the four canteens of life. And the four
Mm.
canteens of life consist of a mental canteen, a spiritual canteen, a physical canteen, and a social canteen.
Ooh,
So
can you
the,
take that
the
again, please?
yes, absolutely. So the four canteens of life consist of a mental canteen, a
Mhm,
social canteen, a
mhm,
physical canteen, and a
mm.
spiritual canteen. With
Ooh,
all so with all these canteens, utilizing them on a daily basis, turning this into a habit, turning this into a routine, will deflect you from any stress, will deflect you from any type of adversity that you truly face. Because when we think about our mental state, we know that everything starts in our minds first.
that's right.
Everything. When you start to think about the future, you start to develop anxiety. When you think about the
Mm,
past, you start to get depressed. When you start thinking about all those things you dealt with in the past, you become depressed, and it all starts up here. So you need to really stay in the moment of being present. You really need to pour positive things in your life. You need to watch motivational videos, listen to podcasts, start reading more books dealing with your mental health. And so that's the mental canteen. But then when you think about that social, everybody has like a family member, a friend, somebody that they can call on to pour into them, to make them feel real better than where they are, to make them feel as far as like what I'm dealing with right now is just only temporary and I can get through it. I got a support channel in order to help me along my journey dealing with this. So that's that social canteen. And then spiritual canteen. Now, everybody might not be a Christian. I know I'm a strong believer, but at the same time, everybody is not in that state. But
that's
I know God brought me through what I am today, and He
mm,
got me here. So my faith developed over time. And by
mm.
developing that faith, I knew that I was created in His likeness and His image, and that I am the most powerful creature on this earth,
Absolutely.
on this planet. So that's the social canteen. I mean the spiritual canteen,
Spiritual.
and then you have the physical canteen. Now,
Mm,
physical fitness is a part of life. It's something that everybody should do. You don't have to go out here and do no rigorous 4-mile run, or you need to go out here and lift all these weights. You can just go for a simple walk.
mm,
Go for a simple walk and clear your mind. Burn some of those calories off. Just easily, take the opportunity to think and reflect on a lot of things you experienced in life, and just
mm.
look at the beautiful land that you're able to walk on.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sylvester. You took us through a journey. You know, as you were speaking, I was just trying to picture, what the mood was gonna be when you sat down, snapped out of the negative influence and energy rising up around you, saying to you that no, you have to end it. This is how
Right.
it's gonna be. You've been through a lot, you've suffered a lot, going through this and that. But instead of allowing that overwhelming thought to overwhelm you, rather you reflected on everything. So it wasn't just about the negative aspects now, but also the positive aspect. So you began to see the negative, but seeing where the result of the positive can come into it, where there can be a balancing between both of them, meaning that the past is there. Yes, we know that. The pain is there. Yes, we know that. But there's also a future of what we want to be, of what, or who we want to become, or the picture of the God in us that can help us become more than who we are right now, than the pain that we're going through right now, or than the past that is gone already, but that we've held on to that pain. That is such a powerful one because it just changed my mindset to things that, in as much as you want to think about the pain in any circumstances, as much as you're thinking about it, there's also a solution somewhere. That is the art of positive thinking. If you can think that, okay, I'm having headache right now, what could be the solution? Instead of just dwelling on the negative, use the positive as an antidote for
Mhm.
the pain of what you're going through. And I think that that moment of reflecting was not just reflecting on the pain and on the past, but it was also reflecting on the good that can become of what has happened. And
Absolutely.
also, you spoke about adaptability, and then you gave us the four canteens. Wow. Wow, that is amazing. Mental, we all know that everything starts up from here. Everything started from here. Some people, it might be some people, working against them. But to some, you are your own enemy. But
Right.
until you break free from that mentality, some could even be generational because you know that in your family, you don't progress more than a certain level. And you just thought that that's how it's going to end. And you just place yourself in a box where God has not placed you. But then
Mhm.
you cannot operate beyond that place because you've not given yourself that chance to operate beyond that place, which is amazing. You also spoke about social content. You also spoke about physical content and spiritual content, which is powerful. And these four pillars, if we look at it deeply, it actually holds the sphere of our lives, or the bigger picture of
Yes.
our lives. Because if you begin to cut them into places, then you will begin to see where they all fit in. If those part of our lives are not well looked after, then we're going to suffer a lot. We have to feed those parts with positive meals, with things that are healthy, so that we can become more than what we are right now. So speaking of becoming, so how will you define overcoming by becoming?
That's another great question. So for me, it's the principle of the well. So becoming by overcoming is the principle of the well. It's like um, you have to dig deep in order to. It takes months. It takes years to go through the process, the pain, the hurt, but it
Mm,
takes moments only to pour. Like the information that I'm providing is years of me dealing with hardships, is years of me dealing with pain, the struggles. But to know that I am able to pour into somebody else in order to guide them through, that's
mm,
becoming by overcoming. Just dealing with all those adversity that you might face in your life, and then knowing that you can come out on top and not have to
mm,
just be stagnant in those positions. That's becoming by overcoming. So a lot
mm.
of things that you might feel as though it's a never ending storm and the sun would never shine again, that's not true. It's a possibility for you to get out of those holes. It's a possibility for you to get out that sunken place and be able to pour into other. Your testimony might be a solution to somebody else.
That's right.
That's becoming by overcoming to me. I was able to go through all those things that I dealt with throughout my years of childhood, adulthood, and now be able to pour into others in order to give them a guiding light, in order to provide them hope, in order to let them know that their start doesn't determine their finish. That even though you're a broken crayon, you can still color.
Mm, mm, Wow. Thank you very much. Wow. Dig deep, dig deep, overcoming by becoming. At every moment that you overcome, then you can become more.
Absolutely.
So the more you dig deep into you, the more you pay more attention into yourself, the more you pay more attention into those things that are not qualified to be in you, or that is lesser than who you can be. The more you realize them, the more you overcome them,
Right.
then you become greater. You
Yes.
become, it feels like there's a new old chapter to you. And then it feels like who you are last month isn't who you're going to be in 2 months' time, because there's a difference. Because
Right.
you've been able to overcome something. You've been able to overcome that challenges. Then now you're becoming more. You're becoming who God wants you to be.
Absolutely.
Looking back, would you have thought that? Have you had a moment of you thinking that if I had taken my life that very moment, would I be able to be a source of hope for someone else? Have you
Yeah.
ever thought about that moment before, looking back?
All the time. I think about it all the time. I think about it quite often, especially since I became a professional speaker and an author. I never really seen myself in this position of what I do today. But at the
Mm,
same time, just knowing what God has brought me through and knowing what could have happened, I possibly would have never experienced the sense of happiness that I am experiencing today. My kids would have been growing up without a father. I never would have been able to interact with other people, make connections, or be able to speak a sense of a message of hope where I am today. So it's been phenomenal, and I'm so blessed and honored to be able to have this opportunity.
wow. So, in a nutshell, there is danger. There is danger to you not becoming, or there is danger to you not overcoming so that you can become.
Right, right, absolutely, absolutely. If you make a choice, you have a choice. There's
Mhm.
two things you get in life, a chance and a choice. Every day that you wake up, every
Mm,
day that you wake up, you have a chance and a choice. You have a chance to change everything that has happened in your life. You have a choice to make a decision in order to become better than where you are today. And it's all upon you. God gives us free will. Like I said before, we're his greatest form of creation. A
that's true.
lion doesn't see an eagle and say, I can fly, but man can. We can
Mm,
easily go out here and ride in a plane. A
ooh,
fish doesn't try to climb a tree like a
nah,
monkey can. But guess what? We can. We can chop down trees. We can build homes. We are his greatest form of creation. So why let that go to waste? I feel there's so
ooh,
many people out there that has so much potential inside of them, and it's all because nobody has revealed it to them. Nobody has
ah,
sat there and told them that you are the greatest form of creation, that you have a purpose inside of you. You are able to be who you want to be and become because God created you for that purpose, on purpose, with a purpose.
ooh. Repeat that last bit. Please repeat that last bit.
God has created you on purpose, for a purpose, with a purpose.
Wow. God has created you for a purpose, with a purpose. What's the last one?
On purpose. He
On
created you on
purpose.
purpose, for a
On
purpose,
purpose.
with a purpose.
Wow. 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 I like that. It kind of sounds like a rhyme, but that is exactly, but that is exactly the whole point of what we are talking about. God created us on purpose. There is a purpose for every one of us. It is only when we allow ourselves to be soaked into our challenges, it is only when we allow ourselves to be soaked into whatever we're going through right now, that is when we cannot operate in that level at which God has created us for. And for
Right.
those people that God has created us to make impact in their lives. I just always think about this every time, that if all of us decide to begin to live on purpose, for the purpose at which we all are created, the
Hmm.
problems that most people have today, most people wouldn't be having it. Because God told me, He said that the solutions to every problems is inside every one of us.
Yes, 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 absolutely.
But
Totally agree.
not everyone want to tap into that purpose that at which God has given to them. A lot of people are dying with that purpose,
Hmm.
without giving birth to that purpose, without making impact with that purpose, without changing and transforming other people's life with that
Yes.
purpose, with that giftings that has been given to them. Why? Because we choose to be blinded by some circumstances that we can actually fight our way through if we
Hmm.
believe that we can. And like
Exactly.
you said, we are the most powerful creation of God. So how
Absolutely.
come some things could overpower us?
You said, I say that again?
I said, how come some things could overpower us when
Mm,
we are the most powerful creation?
yes. Although we shouldn't feel that way. It's the fact that God give us free will. He give
Mm,
us a mind of our own. So your
mm,
mind, your brain is meant to protect you. But at
mm,
the same time, it's meant for survival. So a lot of times when we get in those habits that we have, we get comfortable, we get stuck there. But the thing about it is we have to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So a lot
wow.
of times when we think of certain circumstances that might cause us to step out of our comfort zone, we get afraid because we're thinking about what could possibly happen compared to what can happen. See, we have
Mm,
to really take that opportunity, take that leap of faith and just trust in God as far as getting us to that point. Because if He put it inside your brain, if He put a thought of or a dream inside of you, that
mm,
means He's giving you the opportunity to make it reality.
that's right. Wow, wow, wow. That's powerful. That's powerful. Until we're ready to move out of our comfort zone, the coming will not become a reality.
It won't. Absolutely. You have
Because,
to step.
yeah, yeah, please go on.
Oh, you have to make that leap of step. If you never take that leap of faith, I would rather. I always say this quote to myself: "The price of discipline is less than the pain of regret." And I say that
Ooh.
because if I have the discipline to stay in the word that God has provided me, that I am able to do anything through His power. That He's my protector and my provider. That I am able to be anything that I choose to set my mind to, as far
Yeah.
as being His greatest creation. Now, if I take that opportunity and I choose not to act on that, then I'm doing myself an injustice by what He's given me. I am sitting on my potential more than I'm sitting on other things that He has given me. So once I get into that habit of not stepping out of my comfort zone, now I feel like a failure. This is where the depression and all those other things come in because you living with the regret. Oh man, I wish I
Mm,
had a did this, or man, I wish I had a done that. No,
mm.
take that action, take that leap of faith and step
Take it
out.
out. And step it out. Wow. Wow. That's good. Thank you so much. So, if anyone is going through any challenges right now, is there any steps that you know that they can take that could help them, or maybe that you have taken that could also help someone else going through the thoughts of failure, of regret, limitations, or trauma, or that have been abused? Is there any rules, any guidelines for people to follow?
Yes, I would say there. This is just advice. What I've been able to do was write out all the challenges that I faced, like
Mm,
everything that I've experienced. Like literally, I've experienced divorce. I experienced loss of a loved one. I experienced financial hardship. All these things, write them out on a sheet of paper. And when you write them out on the sheet of paper, now keep in mind, the Bible say write the vision and make it plain. So
that's
your
right.
vision should be who you want to become, how you want to do it. This is where I tell everybody to create a GPS. And I'm not talking about the one on your phone or the one inside your car. I'm talking about the goals, purpose, and a strategy. The goals, because once we know our goals and we understand our purpose and we have a strategy in order to achieve them, there's no reason why we can't reach our destination. Goals and a map has the same type of definition, if you want to call it. Some places are further than the other one, but all of them are reachable. All of them can be met in words. So I would tell everybody to write it down. Once you write it down, let's look at like the difference between is it something that you can fix or change? Trying to figure out whether it's something that you can control or you can't control. This is where you need to really take into consideration of your mindset, your attitude, and the actions you take. Because your mindset, what you feed your brain is just as important as what you feed your body. And then your attitude, like your attitude is everything. So you should always try to have an attitude of gratitude, because by having an attitude of gratitude, it can increase your level of happiness by 10%. And then it can also decrease your level of depression by 35%. So you want to try and also always have an attitude of gratitude. And then also just the actions that you take. Now, you don't have to take a giant leap or a giant step like, oh, I'm going to just cut this situation off cold turkey. No, it can be in moderations. We're all humans. And sometimes when we do those things, it can set us off track as far as who we want to become. So you can take small steps in order to achieve those things that you want to do. So when it comes to your life and the experiences that you have, some things you just can't control. You can't control the environment, which COVID told us that. Once the pandemic happened, we knew we couldn't control the environment around us. But then in your relationships, like if you're going through a domestic dispute between your spouse or whoever it might be, you have to exit from that situation. It's not beneficial from you. It's not beneficial for you at no way possible for your life to continue to grow. And once you step out of that relationship or whatever it might be in, then you can start focusing on you. You have to place the focus on you until the focus is on you. You have to keep the main thing the main thing. And if you don't keep the main thing the main thing, you will never be able to walk in your purpose.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you so much. It's been a wonderful time with you. Can I just ask the last question?
Yes.
And the last question is, for someone who has already been living a life of purpose, is there room for enlargement? Can they also can they still be on the journey of becoming as well? Is there any rules and laws of multiplication, even when you are on purpose?
Yes. I mean, like there's no apex. There is no, there's no lid unless you create it. Like everybody has a journey or a past, but once you get to a certain level, there's another level. And when you go to that next level, there's a bigger boss. So you're going to always face a bigger enemy in your life that can possibly sidetrack you. I ain't say off track, but sidetrack you from fulfilling that purpose of reaching that next level. So there is a never ending step to this. We always say we want to reach the top, but once you reach the top, there is more. There's another mountain higher than the one that you just reached.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So, for everyone who has been listening, this is your Efata moment. You've been here with myself and Sylvester has shared his story, and it's been an amazing journey that he's been through. But the most important thing is, it was not the story when the story was happening, but now the story is becoming and becoming greater, and there's still room for more because he chose not to listen to that negative words that says that is the end of it. Take your life. He chose not to listen to that voice, but rather he found purpose in his pain. He found purpose in that moment of reject, in that moment of nothing was working, in that moment of loneliness, in that moment of deprivation, in that moment where all hope seems to be all lost, he found his purpose in that moment. And then he's been building his resilient skill, and he's been able to do many more for, for thousands of people. And yours is not an exemption. You're not meant to continue to have those thoughts. You are not meant to continue to have those thoughts that will put you down or that is unhealthy to you and to your purpose and to the reason why you are here on earth. You're here on earth for a reason. You're here on earth for a purpose. And God has created you on purpose for that purpose at which He had created you for. And He expected you to carry out those purposes and to carry out your purpose as well. So this gift has been given to you. How are you using this gift? Do you choose to hide that gift and then bury yourself in negative thought, in limitations, in battling with your inner critics? It is time now to win, because victory is yours and victory is today. Listen to this podcast over and over again, and I hope that you can pick something that you can stand upon on every word that has been spoken by Sylvester today, because I know that it is your moment of transformation. It is your moment at which God is going to meet with you in that challenges, because God needs to take the veil that has covered your face off so that you can become more than who you are right now. There is so much in you. I believe in you. Sylvester believes in you, and we are cheering you up here, and we know that you can do it. So arise now and begin that positive thinking. It starts with a step. Remember, it doesn't have to be a giant step, but start with a baby step. Every day, applaud yourself for that step that you have taken, because it is going to lead to your greatness. Don't give up. Just continue on the journey, and we are here to hold your hands. So, Sylvester, have you got a last word for us today?
Yes, to anybody that's listening to this podcast today, I just want to give you a sense of hope. I want you to tell you, I know you might be running that race and that you don't see the finish line, but don't give up. I want to tell you to just keep moving forward, keep rising to the top, keep moving and climbing, because once you reach that point, you're going to know exactly who you are and what your purpose is. You are a piggy bank, and you have a purpose inside of you. And when you shake it, you go through the beating, the breaking, everything in order to get that purpose out of you. Trust me, it's inside of you, and you just need to continue to move forward and live in that purpose.
Wow. What a safe landing. What a safe landing we have there with Sylvester. Thank you so much. You've heard that from Sylvester. Keep working, keep moving, keep climbing, keep trying again and again. You know, the day you become a failure is the day you stop trying. But when you're still on that journey, you're still a champion, and we are cheering you up. So remember, it's your Ephphatha moment, and we are signing out today, leaving you with that word. Don't stay on your trouble, but rise up above it. Today is your day. See you later. Bye now on this episode. Thank you for joining us this week on Ephphatha. Make sure to visit our social media platforms where you can subscribe to avoid missing out on the latest contents. We promise to bring you amazing episodes that will help you live a fulfilled life. Please visit us on Facebook and Instagram on Ephphatha Podcast. Kindly like, comment, and share the content for others to benefit. Your comments and observations would help us bring you amazing content. Thank you for listening, and see you in 2 weeks' time.